can open in prayer, and Tasna, you can record. Okay, join me in prayer. Most beloved Heavenly Parent, thank you so much for the age that we live in, both with our true parents and the added benefit of technology where we can connect with each other across distances and connect in heart as well. And we're especially grateful to be able to have this time to connect with True Mother and understand her leadership more in a personal way. And I pray that you can really be present in this time to work through our sister Crescentia and open our hearts as well, so that we can really grow that relationship with True Mother and support her as she's working really hard to really bring your kingdom here on earth, Heavenly Father. I thank you so much for allowing us to be here tonight, and I offer all these things in the name of David and Kaylee Moffat of Blessed Central Family. Adieu.
Adieu.
Adieu. So, very fortunate to have with us very important lady, busy lady who made time for us tonight. I feel very grateful for that. Crescentia Dagodi, who's the director of the Blessing and Family Ministry. Really wonderful, wonderful sister, has so much to share with us. And I had a chance to connect with her this morning about her session, and I'm eager to hear from her. So without further ado, let's welcome Crescentia to share with us. Yay!
Thank you so much, Kaylee. What a lovely introduction. Thank you for all the love. I'm really happy to be able to share tonight, and actually, yeah, just the opportunity to, it actually helped me to reflect on all these many different experiences that I've had with True Mother, especially over the last 5 years that I've been in the role of Blessing and Family Ministry Director. And it also really really helped me to think about the fact that I wouldn't actually be doing what I'm doing if it wasn't for True Mother. So I'm going to share a little bit about that tonight. She's the one that appointed me into my role of BFM Director, and which has been an incredible experience these last 5 years to take this type of leadership role within our movement at this time in the Providence. I think that when I started, I had no idea how challenging it would actually be and all of what it would entail. But I wouldn't trade any of it, any of the experiences that I've had, because it's shaped me a lot. It's helped me grow. You know, it's grown my heart, grown my relationship with God, with true parents. And it's given me an opportunity to use my skills and my kind of who I am, my personality, my relationship with, kind of my faith, and offer that for the sake of others, kind of offer that for the sake of our movement. And all of that I have True Mother to thank, because she kind of plucked me out of my small community in Pennsylvania and thrust me into a national leadership position. And from there, it gave me an opportunity to have many different encounters with True Mother over the last 5 years in Korea and sometimes in America. So based on all of those interactions that I've had with True Mother, I want to share with you tonight about what I understand to be True Mother's leadership style. And I think we're really fortunate to be living in this time where we get to experience that. When True Father was alive, I think we saw more, or we experienced more of True Father's leadership style. And True Mother was really in the supporting role, and she was an incredible support to True Father. I think even, True Father himself mentioned many times that he couldn't have done it if he didn't have True Mother, who was right there, supporting him, and just in so many different ways, and in many ways that we couldn't even see. But also, I don't know that we really saw True Mother's leadership fully emerge until this last 6 years that, after True Father's passed. So I think for all of us who are leaders right now, we get to see this great example on True Mother as a leader. So I have a few photos and just some slides. I apologize that it isn't more, but hopefully it's good enough, and it will help to just kind of illustrate what I understand to be true mother's leadership. Okay, can everybody see it okay? Okay, great. All right. So this is where it started for me. That's in the right behind True Mother, that tall guy who's got a true grandchild on his shoulders. That's my husband, Layton. And this was in Hawaii, and it was the summer after True Father had passed, and Layton and I had been helping out at Camp Shahakwa. Layton had taken a director role at Camp Shahakwa, and I had been in some kind of education director supportive role. And True Mother decided that, maybe the summer after that she wanted to do a special camp in Hawaii for her grandchildren. And she asked elder members there if they knew anyone second gen, who could help with this camp. And by a miracle, Layton and my name came up. So next thing we know, Layton's in Hawaii with True Mother. I couldn't go at the time, but Layton went, and he was there for 3 weeks helping out with this camp. And what happened is that True Mother observed Layton as he was interacting with her grandchildren. He was actually teaching the true grandchildren the divine principle, and he was helping to organize activities for them. And she was very intrigued by this person who was clearly very not Korean. Layton is like, yeah, he's very straightforward person and kind of zany, and says what's on his mind. And when he saw True Mother, he just went right up to her. You don't do that in Korean culture. And he kind of introduced himself. Anyway, I think True Mother was really intrigued by Layton, and especially just his heart towards the true grandchildren. So she asked Wanju to kind of learn more about Layton and myself and our pastoring when we were in Philadelphia, and kind of understand more about us. And then towards the end of the 3 weeks, she had Layton and one of the other second gen that was helping out with the program sit down for a breakfast, just the few of them, with Dr. Kim present. And that's when she asked Layton, if he'd be willing to take on a mission. And at the time, Layton was a student at UPenn, University of Pennsylvania in Berks County. And so he explained that, Mother, I'd love to take a mission, but I'm a student, so I don't know if I can right now. And then, but he did describe his heart for wanting our blessed family, like wanting our blessed family members to really feel blessed, and feeling heartbroken that so many of our blessed family members don't feel that way, even have so many challenges. And you just kind of, he was expressing this heart. So next thing I know, I'm getting a phone call that True Mother says, okay, your wife can take the mission. And so, I'm like, Layton's just, hey, do you want to take this mission on to, I think the mission was to bring all the second generation in America back to true parents. It's like, what? What kind of mission is that? But, and then actually, interestingly, I said in my heart that what I really care about is I'm really passionate about marriage and family. And then next thing I know, True Mother kind of added to it, take on the BF at the time it was Blessed Family Department role. And, Dr. Kim, through Dr. Kim, that was communicated. And so she put me into the position. Reverend Schenker was the leader at the time, and she wanted him to kind of mentor me into the role, which is how I came into it. But it was such an interesting experience for me, because I learned that for True Mother, when she's looking for, building her team, or she's looking to bring someone into a leadership role, what she's most concerned about more than anything else is heart. And, because in Layton, she felt his heart. heart towards God, heart towards true parents, heart towards the true family, towards his brothers and sisters in this world. And that's what moved her, and then she learned about kind of our heart as a couple, which extended to her offering it to me. And it was so fascinating for me because I had been praying for months, actually, and even talking with headquarters, wanting to see where I might be able to contribute on the national level. But it wasn't really working out through those channels. And then, True Mother comes on the scene and says, okay, this woman is going to come to the headquarters and work there. And they didn't have any option but to say yes. And I came into that role. So at the time I really felt like, I felt honored that she would choose me as a young woman to take on such a big responsibility in America. And I prayed about it, and I felt like, True Mother was seeing in me a potential that I didn't even know that I had. And I see and over the years, I've seen True Mother do this again and again and again, where she puts someone into a role kind of based on, some of their character, their life experience, but also a lot based on the potential that she sees. And she believes 100% in a person's ability to fulfill their best and to be their best possible self and to bring their best to the role. And she trusts that. And then she gives a lot of freedom and a lot of ownership to each person who's taking that on. And that's something, having experienced it from True Mother directly, that I've tried to emulate in my leadership, even within how I run my ministry and, all the volunteers that I work with and the staff that I have. I've been so struck by that with True Mother. Even recently, Damien Dunkley was promoted to national president. He's, I think, maybe one of the youngest presidents that we've ever had in America. And most of his peers are so much older than him when you're talking about national presidents around the world. And again, I noticed that what True Mother felt, because there was many different people that she could have selected from. Many different names were offered to True Mother at the time when she was looking to make a change in leadership. But Reverend Dunkley was chosen, I think, because of his heart towards true parents. He has such a heart towards true parents. And also, for the last several years, he had been completely responding to directly what True Mother was talking about. What was True Mother's biggest concern, her biggest heart, was how do we, expand the realm of the blessing and activate tribal messiahs and, make a stronger foundation throughout the world and in America. And that's what Damien was doing, so, and since then, his relationship with True Mother has become even closer. So that was kind of my first indicator of what kind of leader True Mother is. And then the other sort of element here that has really, time and time again, I've seen in True Mother is this very personal touch that she brings. So, this photo is actually in my second trimester with Rose in my belly, my first daughter. And I went to Korea for the leadership meeting at that time. And actually, when Leighton was in Hawaii, True Mother asked him, do you have any kids yet? And he said no at that time. That was, 6 years ago. And, he said no. And she sort of, kind of gave him a sign like, work on that, or, something like that. So then when we came back to Korea, I guess that was a year and a half later, Leighton was so excited to tell True Mother, hey, we're pregnant. And Dr. Kim, brought us over. And I was shocked because, True Mother put me in the role, but I figured, she's got a lot of leaders around the world. How much does she really know me personally? But she knew me right away, and she knew Leighton right away. And she was so happy. So this, here Leighton's touching my belly, but not long after that, Mother actually put her hand on my belly and, gave a blessing to Rose inside my womb. And this is Rose. 4 years later, she is a force to be reckoned with. She is fierce. She is strong. She is full of love, and future CEO or, national leader or whatever her destiny may be. But she definitely got imbued with True Mother's spirit. She's a strong, powerful little lady. And actually, there's another. Maybe some of you know the Curry family, Mari and Richard Curry. Their daughter, Adelina Rose, who's 2 years younger than Rose, was born on the exact same day as Rose, November 18th. And when Adelina Rose, a few months after Adelina Rose was born, True Mother touched Adelina Rose's head. Mari brought Adelina Rose to a meeting, and True Mother smiled and touched Adelina Rose. So I'm beginning to see a pattern. In the young ladies that True Mother, that gives some kind of blessing or connection to. Anyway, just, to really, like, if I had to put one phrase to it, it's leadership of the heart, which we hear a lot from Women's Federation. But it hit me, True Mother founded the Women's Federation for World Peace. That was her debut as a leader. Up until then, we hadn't really seen her in that role. We'd seen her in that supportive role, but True Father really encouraged True Mother and really promoted and uplifted her as the president, as the director of Women's Federation. And we started to see her give speeches all around the world and share from her heart, the role of women, but also the true role of women and men, and how women can take an active leadership role in their communities and their families, within their churches. And the emphasis is always on leading from within, being a person of heart, who is sensitive to the needs of those that you're serving and those that you're leading. And we see this in True Mother again and again and again, time and time again. She demonstrates this and how she leads. So, one element of this is promoting communication and collaboration. She's very, when I think about it, all these different experiences I've had in Korea and in America, at the heart of it, True Mother is literally a mom. And a mom knows her kids. And, so True Mother doesn't necessarily know every person in the world, every member, inside and out. But as she gets to know certain individuals, especially, she gets to know through her close network, she's introduced to different people and their characters and their heart and their spirit. And then she creates these teams all around the world of leaders. And then what's fascinating to me is that she thrusts these leaders together. So, we get together in Korea, and this is one recent example. She put the sub-regional directors of Korea, Japan, and America she strategically seated them together. So all the sub-region 1 directors of Korea, Japan, and America were seated together. Then all the ones of 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and so on. And her intention was that, and she literally gave them time, like maybe 20, 30 minutes, while they're eating, and said to them, please connect, please talk, share. So she does this constantly where, and sometimes I've heard it come through Dr. Kim, where he says, don't forget, we're all one team. So Women's Fed work with BFM, and BFM work with evangelism. So under True Mother's leadership, we see a lot of collaboration happening more and more and more. And that is part of True Mother's wisdom, part of True Mother's leadership style is this idea of every person in the family, every child has their unique strengths and their character. And her thought is like, you don't have to have everybody all the same, united in heart, but expressing these unique characteristics and then bringing all of those, expertise to the table and letting the creativity sort of, unfold from there. And also True Mother, purposefully has us just do fun activities and, mix people up. So she'll have a youth game. I'll never forget the first youth game that I participated in with Korean and Japanese, mostly Korean and Japanese leaders, and Americans as well. And I just was like, who are these people? They are not the people that I usually think of when we're seated together listening to presentations. It's like they become totally, you just see a different side of them where they're really loud and they're arguing, and then they're joking around, and they're just kind of silly and sweaty, and it's just like, what? But it's like mom, when mom organizes the holiday, when mom's the host of the holiday, she has fun activities. Maybe she has the tradition in there with the prayer, or some kind of reading. And that's exactly what True Mother does as a leader. She creates different types of experience, extraordinarily deep experiences where we're praying, we're studying together. And then on the total flip side, youth games where we're shouting and sweaty. And I think all of this is very intentionally done to kind of promote this connection, this kinship, really, as brothers and sisters who are doing this work together. And in particular, I think True Mother really has the mind towards her younger leaders. With Top Gun in particular, she wants to see people working together, not just as like soldiers or, like business partners, but friends, real friends of faith. And especially in the young leadership, like through the Top Gun programs, I see her fostering that kind of leader. And herself, modeling. I realized I don't think I put that in the slide, so I'll wait on that for a minute. It's a little bit later. But anyway, this team approach, being mindful of what the different skills are. Also, what's fascinating to me about True Mother is that, she does give directions for sure. She definitely has some clear goals that she is asking us to achieve, individually, on the family level, within each nation, on the world level. But what I've noticed is that True Mother is also non-specific in the means to achieve the goal. So she doesn't tell you must do X, Y, and Z. She's in no way a micromanager. She sets clear goals. She creates a vision. She's absolutely determined in it. She believes in it 100%. But then she really puts the ownership to everybody that's on her team. She's really strategic about who she brings onto her team. She thinks a lot about that. And she empowers them. She checks in with them. But then she completely trusts each person on her team once they're there. And if somebody, can't fulfill it, or it's not the right fit, she makes changes accordingly. But time and time again, what I felt is, wow, True Mother really wants us to she actually loves getting feedback. So one of the things Dr. Kim, our continental chair, often does is, make sure to have us write reflections, after we go to a program that True Mother has put on, or after True Mother has given a message, or something like that. And I realized, and then he'll read those reflections to True Mother, and she's so grateful to hear them. And I thought about that, and it's not a one-sided relationship. It's dynamic. And she puts something out there, but she wants to know, is it working? What do you think about it? How do you feel about it? And are you inspired? Are you struggling? And so she loves she loves this input. She loves this feedback. And she kind of, she makes plans, but then she adjusts those plans based on what kind of response she gets. And she's inspired when somebody does something kind of unique. She was really inspired when, for example, when Damien, as the national president, when he was praying and meditating on, what could he do to comfort True Mother's heart? He realizes, she's longing to reach every person in the world, to save every person, to bring every person to God. And when he was praying about that, he thought of a rally. Me personally, I probably wouldn't have thought of a rally, but Damien did. And God bless the fact that he did, because it was an incredible success. And I think it really inspired True Mother tremendously. And it allowed so many people to connect to True Mother through that. And anyway, that wasn't True Mother who said do a rally. That was Damien who offered that to True Mother. And when True Mother heard that, she was so inspired that she wanted to come. She wanted to be there. She was responding to this really, honestly, like a childlike heart of Damien and America to say, True Mother, we want you to come. We want to bring people to know you and get to hear you. And she was inspired by that. So she's that kind of leader, that's listening, that's open, that's interested, and kind of adjusting plans. And it's not as if she's wishy-washy. She's really clear what the goals are, where we're going, but giving a lot of ownership, giving a lot of room for creativity. What I've found as a leader, when I do that in my leadership of my team at the BFM, and the volunteers I'm working with, I'm constantly pleasantly surprised by how much more we can achieve, how much more we can do, because it unleashes the energy of each person that's on the team, and we multiply what's possible. And that's exactly what I see True Mother doing. Another element of this, of True Mother's leadership style is exactly what you would think of with a mom. Mom kind of knows what you like. She knows, like, you don't like, you don't like mushrooms on your pizza, or mom knows, like, you like the color purple. Mom knows, like, okay, I'm not going to get that daughter a sweater because she doesn't trust my sense of style, or, I'm going to different things. Like, mom kind of knows about you. And that's, True Mother is, like, she always is leading from the heart, and she's always putting those little personal touches. So we've seen, for example, Cheongpyeong totally change over the last couple of years, because True Mother's heart was, this is my home. I want everybody who comes here to really feel comfortable and to be taken care of, and to feel the grace of God, feel loved, feel refreshed. So little by little, she built coffee shops, and she improved the accommodations where people would stay, and various different things to make a nicer environment for everyone who would come there, things to help for people that are coming from abroad, make it more comfortable for them. And she, I've again and again, I've been so intrigued to see, like, the gifts that she chooses for different leaders, for different members, for Heavenly Tribe Messiahs that she's connecting to. And most recently, I had this very special experience. That is True Mother on the right side there, right-hand side at the table. There's True Mother with her assistants right next to Nancy Jubb, kind of diagonal from me. And this was so special. After the rally, True Mother requested to Dr. Kim that essentially for all of the young directors at the headquarters to come for a shopping trip with True Mother. And it was a few days after the rally. And then, and as well as Reverend Busing was asked to come as well. So it was just a small group of us, and we went shopping, and Jung Jinim, her youngest daughter, who had just given birth to a baby, who True Mother was just incredibly happy, to meet that granddaughter and to connect with her youngest daughter, who, if you don't know the story, that youngest daughter went through some challenges in her life, and True Mother, could just completely embrace this daughter and could spend time with her. So anyway, all of us young directors plus Jung Jinim are at the Kohl's, and True Mother was helping all the young men to pick out a suit. And it was really fun to see True Mother just relaxed and happy, and kind of smiling as she sees us, like trying to sees the men like trying to figure out what to do, and they're getting tips about what to buy, showing True Mother their suits. And then there was just 4 ladies, Tal, Mari, Nancy, and myself, and she had the men stay behind, and she brought just us ladies to a section of Nordstrom that is, like one of her, that it resembles the clothing that she wears. And she selected a coat, like a blazer for each one of us, based on our character, based on our style. And then she asked us to try it on and come out and show her. And then when I came out and showed True Mother the blazer, she kind of gave me some suggestions, actually in English. She said, this kind of dress, this kind of pants to put together with it. And she was smiling. And I just felt in that moment, True Mother knows me. She knows me, and she knows each one of us, and she loves us as her children. She's taking care of us just like she would take care of her own children. And she's dressing us for the job that she's asking us to do, to be in these leadership positions. And, and then with her assistance, they helped us pick out some clothes. But the experience really touched my heart, to know that, like, True Mother thinks of the internal and the external. And she puts all these little things in place to take care of the needs that people have. And then, we had lunch together, and then True Mother, said, like, okay, now go and work hard, after we, relaxed and had lunch. And apparently she wanted to take us to coffee or something, or she wanted to take us to a movie, but there was no good movie showing. So she gave some money for us to go and have coffee together afterward. So we work hard True Mother, she pushes her team very hard. She asks a lot. She drives her team to, again, be their best, to bring their best to the table. But she also makes sure to take care of everybody that's on her team, and love them, and have fun, like have moments of fun and relaxation and connecting. And, just other little things that True Mother does, to show this care. Even she has brought some dignitaries and invited them to stay in the Cheonggyegang. There's like a special area that's like a hotel style in the Cheonggyegang, her home, and stay there. And she prepares all the details of the room, make sure everything's really nice. After every big celebration, there's always a bento box, with food that your parents like, just these little things that we didn't have that before, but under True Mother's leadership, we see these small personal touches. She, just today, actually, in the Tuesday meeting with Dr. Kim said, True Mother was asking about each of you by name, and like asking, like saying little details about us, so she calls Koichi Professor Koichi, because she found out that he teaches classes as a professor at a university. And so, she was asking about him. And then she was asking, like, how's Mari? How's Crescentia? So we may not think of True Mother has all these different people that are on her team, so to speak, around the world. And yet she knows our names and knows something personal about each of us. And she connects with us that way. She certainly doesn't know everything about us, but she knows some personal things about us, and she makes an effort to stay connected and to kind of be involved in our lives, to know what's going on with our activities. It was also fascinating, another thing here that was fascinating, I think the last 2 or 3 Cheongguk leaders meetings, True Mother prepared health checkups for all the national leaders who don't have access to good health care in their nations. And she emphasizes again and again, take care of your health. You can't lead if you don't have good health. So she's sort of thinking, not just thinking the business, the fulfillment of the 430 or the, bringing these dignitaries. Of course, she's thinking about that, and she's putting all those practical details in place, but she's also mindful of how's the person's emotional health, spiritual health. Are they having friendships? Are they connecting? Very holistic style of leadership is the way True Mother approaches it. Let me see how I'm doing here. So just to wrap it up, there's a sensitivity and an intuition, the kind of the mom's intuition, she has that in full. And then, also, of course, she has this personal relationship with God, so she gets direct insights from God relating to all these different individuals that she's connecting with, working with, supporting, empowering. One example that was very striking to me is that this past summer, at the time of the cosmic blessing and the anniversary of True Father's ascension. And we were meant to have a normal 2-day, 3-day Chinook leaders meeting, which usually involves lots of different presentations from different leaders, and not so much discussion at those particular type of gatherings. You kind of maybe discuss during meals or something, but it's a lot of downloading of information. And basically, the day before the meeting, all of her headquarters staff was planning for this traditional type of meeting. And the day before the meeting, True Mother says, scrap that. You're all going to go and do basically Chung Chung program. And you're going to have, 2 days of grace. I forget what she called it, but it was like a grace program. And she had us do Ansu. She had all the leaders of every station, regardless of position, national leader, continental leader, ministry leader, whatever, everybody, white t-shirts, relaxed pants. Everybody's doing the same thing. International headquarters is there. All the different leaders are there. Nobody's sneaking out to get coffee during a presentation or whatever people do sometimes. Everybody's there. And you're praying and you're doing Ansu. And you walked up, she had each region walk up the mountain and pray at the different trees. And it was so interesting because even me personally, just that particular time, I had, there's so much going on, leading up to that. I think everybody was a little bit exhausted. And honestly, it was like exactly what so many people needed. So many of those leaders that came, I heard it from so many different people from all the different regions. Wow, this is so refreshing. This is like exactly what I needed. And I saw people being healed, feeling encouraged, feeling renewed in their determination, kind of connecting to their deeper self, being able to repent for things that were weighing them down, that they felt bad about. It was amazing. And that was, True Mother tuning into, where is my team at? How's my team doing? And what do they really need right now? And then, she just shifted it. And sometimes she'll be prepared to give a certain message in front of a group, but she'll kind of read the audience, and where they're at emotionally, spiritually, and she'll change the message that she's going to give. And I think that sort of responsiveness to the people that she's working with, it really creates a different dynamic for her as a leader. Anyway, I realized that because I've had so many experiences with True Mother, there's so much of that I've come to know about her. To me, she is truly, and I'm not just saying this because I'm, some kind of super unificationist, but I've observed a lot of leaders in action. I've observed politically, and I'm intrigued by political leadership and social leadership and, our social leaders and celebrities, etc., religious leaders of different faith communities. And there's no one like True Mother. She is an incredibly unique, dynamic, from the heart, strong, and honestly, powerful leader. But you wouldn't, you kind of, what do you say? Not, I don't want to say she's quiet, but she's like this quiet strength. That's how I would describe it. Quiet strength. And for me, it's helped me a lot in how I kind of model my leadership style after True Mother. And I find that that's been really empowering me in my leadership ability. So anyway, there's so much more I'd love to share at another time, but I hope that could help you get to know a little bit more about True Mother's leadership style. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Crescentia, for sharing. I'm really grateful. Do you want to stop sharing your screen for a sec?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Yeah, thanks. Thank you so much. There's a lot of really awesome points that you brought up. I think, especially for me, I think also seeing like behind it is the heart, or like she's always looking right for the heart, and really this space and empowerment to be co-creators in taking that vision and then really owning it, which I think there's so much freedom behind that, right? And as a mom, it's like, yeah, like whether you bring me burnt pancakes or whether you paint your house blue or green, it doesn't really matter as long as it's like, something beautiful, right? And I'm really grateful, Jess, that we can hear all your personal stories and experiences with mother, right? Because I think she also gives those with the hope that you share them with others, young people who maybe don't have a chance to sit down, and go shopping or share a meal, but knowing that like she's loving and investing into the youth around her, with that heart of wanting to share that with others. So
Absolutely.
thanks for sharing, and thanks for saying yes to our invitation to take on this vision. So we have a few more minutes. Would anyone on the call, does anyone have any questions that they'd like to ask Crescentia? About 10 minutes, we can take a few.
No, more of just a comment. Thank you for sharing.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for listening. Robert, what inspired you or what's like a takeaway from the talk? I always like to hear that.
I mean, honestly speaking, a lot of it I've already experienced with mother. And a lot of the same kind of, I don't want to say relationship, but same kind of experiences so what I took away was kind of a reaffirmation of what I've already experienced.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great to hear that it's not just me.
My wife is also sitting here, and she was nodding her head and going, yep.
Awesome.
All the whole time, so.
Very cool. Thank you. Thanks for sharing that.
Sorry, I was muted. Any other questions, comments, reflections anyone would like to share? I have a question. Maybe so for those who can't or don't yet maybe have the opportunity to spend so much time with mother personally, do you have any suggestions or reflections of ways that we can connect to the heart behind her leadership, knowing that it's very different to be on the receiving end of that directly versus sometimes being filtered through leadership or communication or other people, where maybe once it gets to you as a young person, there might be a little bit of a disconnect. So do you have any tips or advice to share?
Yeah, I think that reading True Mother's messages or watching True Mother's videos directly, yourself, in particular ones where she's speaking to young adult audiences, youth or young adult audiences, I think that really captures True Mother's heart towards us as young people. And when she's speaking to youth and young adults, her tone, her energy, the word, what she chooses to, the examples she gives are different from an audience that maybe sometimes you see in some of the videos or you hear in some of the speeches, where it's very mixed, or maybe a lot of the older generation are there, or it's a primarily Christian audience. She definitely speaks to who's in front of her, True Mother. So I really want to recommend that, videos or speeches where she's talking to youth and adults. And then, when you read it, really, I would say just consider what's the message that's there for you personally, because True Mother, it is hard when you don't get to sit down at a breakfast meeting or go. I mean, honestly, I'm blown away by the experience I've had, but I realize that exactly what you said, Tasna. Often True Mother invests in the ones that are close with the hopes that we will share it with others that we're working with. In fact, that is her strategy. Love those closest, that she's most closely working with, and then let it trickle down. So anyway, ask people that are spending time with your mother. Even, ask your district pastor, ask your, if your local pastor has had some personal experiences, and question them like crazy, ask them to give you details, to kind of get to know her more personally. And even, just prayer, like praying to, you can kind of meditating on, could be speeches, videos, meditating on, if you've had even one or two experiences with True Mother, maybe in a group, and then praying for God to give you some insight or inspiration about True Mother. You might be surprised. I've heard people say they have, they get dreams of True Mother, and where she'll tell them something in the dream, or, they'll be, anyway, something might jump out to you or be revealed to you. I personally, when I was feeling a little bit disconnected from True Mother, made almost like a condition or a goal that I would every week watch the weekly update from International Headquarters. At least the first part, which most of the time features a message or a video of True Mother. And doing that, I found really shifted my relationship with her. Because honestly, you can't have a relationship with somebody that you're not interacting with on some level on a regular basis. You just can't. But if you make that kind of regular connection point, it's amazing what opens up and what you start to hear or notice that you might not otherwise have heard or noticed. So I think those are some suggestions. I hope that helps.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Thank you. I especially like the video suggestion and the point that you can't build a relationship with someone you don't have any sort of give and take with whatsoever. And I've also experienced, like just watching her videos sometimes is helpful from the perspective of like, what's the message for me? Like what is she trying to share and connect in heart that way? So awesome. Thank you. Any last questions? All right. Well, thank you. This wraps up our 4th part of this leadership series. Thank you, Crescentia, so much for joining us. Thank you, everyone who was on this call. We're going to put the recording up on our website. And thank you for being part of this experience. Hopefully it was helpful, and take some nuggets of wisdom back to your own communities, your ministries, and your own daily life. So thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me. Thanks for being a part of it, everyone. Take care.
Thank you, and have a good night.
Also,